Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Castin Bronze. Gonna go ahead and throw this out there. This is meant in good fun, not intended to hurt any feelings of these wildly talented players down here in the bronze lobbies. We've already had some games. We've had a 65-minute banger. We've had a 12-0 Charybdis save the damn game. I'm not sure what we got here yet, but Deelo, how we doing?
You know what, Ztan? After that 65-minute, let's call it banger, I wanted to blow my brains out. I am anticipating some interesting stuff here this time around as we get into it, but it's bronze, baby. That means that you could really expect anything out your bag. Someone could have to get some pizza rolls out from the microwave, just go AFK for the rest of the game. Someone could get this into a 3-hour slog fest, and I'm here doing analysis of that, so it's going to be a good time.
Outstanding. Yeah, it could definitely it could be a serious game of Smite.
Probably not.
Some of the stuff we've seen. Karen. All right, somebody hurt this guy. Somebody hurt him. Not to say that I think Charon's just an atrocious ban, but with all the other things that are available on the board, who hurt you? Moolah? Nah.
That must be up against a Sun lobby, I guess, because we know that guy's a big fan of the god, but Kuzumbo going to round it out. A lot of Guardians and Frontline being banned out here by the Tin Boys. Copper Choppers, meanwhile, going for what you might consider a bit more of an optimal meta-oriented ban picks. Chunga, maybe just kind of throwing that one in there just to mix things up. Gotta respect it, but the Hachiman ban, and you know which side I'm already supporting. They are on the side of justice, and right now Artemis is on the side of the Tin Boys.
We've got an Artemis, and you know, I think looking back to that first game we casted here, this is the second time now I've seen Chang'e banned in a bronze lobby. Sheesh. Okay. Well, Cthulhu. Soul.
That was all right. And yeah, no cap. That threw me for a loop for a second. That is going to be the soul lock in there. So a lot of magical threats being taken here. And as far as what you said, the Chang'e ban being taken through 2 of these Castin Bronze, you know, there is a different meta to be spoken of. You know, high skill cap gods are not going to be performing nearly as well in these lower tiers. So different gods reign supreme. And that must be noted. Chang'e just very, very well be one of them. These are my people, after all, the bronze folk. I'm really unranked, so if anything, I'm even an echelon below these grand slammers. But nonetheless, they know maybe more than we do in the case of what this ecosystem looks like. It's its own little terrarium. And right now in that terrarium, we got a little, I say little, but it's really a big World Serpent popping up. Double Scotty Hover. Just if, you know, one Calder isn't enough, it will be. Scotty gets locked in.
Look, one of these teams, and it does appear to be the Copper Choppers, understand the tech that is going on right now with these buffs. Scotty's nuts. Does require a lot of protection, but she can put out some wild numbers. And speaking of gods that just got buffed and are performing wildly, there's Catwoman herself.
Hopping in from DC Comics now into our game. Seeing some interesting things here in terms of what we have. A lot of CC now brought to you thanks to that Ares pick. And Ao Kuang's already been doing an okay job individually bursting some beads. But on the reverse side, you have a lot of CC immune ults. Pillar of Agony, the World Serpent, Caledonian Boar. Supernova not quite the same, but you do have the immune from her too. So that's going to be also useful on that side. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do to try to counter that out. There's a lot of punch for counter punch here, a lot of cards that can be kind of flipped up in face of that no escape. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can, you know, prove their mettle as these bronze players can and make sure that they're keeping those ults up in their pockets at the right time.
I'm going to be honest, Deelo. If Ares is able to hit his chains, I'm taking Copper Choppers here.
Yeah, but that's like a coin flip already, Ztan. So to be fair, we'll have to find out if that's really going to be the case. If you are a gambling man, this is certainly the kind of game to do it on. My money line is going to be on Copper Choppers as well, just because I do like... but you know what? We'll keep it interesting. I do love me Jormungandr fun, big snake, haha, fun guy. And Hades is a guy that we haven't seen in quite some time, so I do appreciate these off-meta picks, even if, based on bronze, it might not be. Get to find out how it all stacks up. If they're able to keep their distance, I could see this Soul causing real havoc there come these team fights.
Yeah, you almost have to assume, like, I mean, the Soul's got relative safety, right? Like, you've got the free Aegis beads on a 10-second cooldown, but the only way we're going to find out any of this and all this speculating is to just get in here and get to it.
Indeed, and here we are. And it must be said, I just realized. Yes, we are, but look at where we are as well, with the Soul being mid. I just realized the fact they have 2 hyper carries here in terms of that, and that's going to make it a bit interesting in terms of how they're going to scale. Of course, that objective burn going to be vicious on this side of the Tin Boys, but it's going to take a while for them to get right into it. Not going to be physical, obviously, so nonetheless, still not quite as efficient in those objective burns, but still going to be a carry nonetheless. Yorman under support, though. Ztan, you and me together have cast this before. It was in the hands of the very deadly, always superfluous, always efficient Strat. You have to see if the bronze version can get the same thing done.
My bet's no, but there's some tech I gotta point out here. Morrigan has went with a start of the T2 Doom Orb. Like, what do you think about that?
Well, that orb is cursed, and you know, if something is cursed, it's typically bad. So I'm gonna say it's pretty bad. But if we can hover over the stats real quick, Anthony, please give your C2 a bit of help here. Actually, hold on, I might need to see a bit of help here in this dual lane. Decent damage being dropped down on top of this Yorm and Artemis.
Yeah, Artemis has got the beads out. Jormungandr's slowed a little bit, but I don't think anything comes off of that. That's a very early rotation coming from this Ao Kuang. Little surprising to see for me personally with the Bull Demon, everything else. Honestly, I'm just kind of surprised to see him there.
Yeah, but also surprised, like you said, to see that Doom Orb stacked up. So we're just going to kind of get some surprise in the first place. And that Cursed Orb, thank you, Anthony. Going to be providing you that nice passive of trying to get some stacks up, but Soul's pushing up very hard right now. We saw Morgan Le Fay drop down to half. Soul, of course, has that natural built-in sustain. Not going to be too worried about that. Already beginning to push down these Bastions, too. Hades, as well as Bastet, trying to push down this Cthulhu. Could be a bit rough looking.
They're going right after him. Hades is really low, but so is Cthulhu. They're gonna confirm it for the first blood. Bastet gets it in pocket.
Good thing to see here. I mean, we had the same attempt on the other coast from the Ao Kuang. Just not quite as successful, a bit more obvious. Waiting for the time where that Cthulhu was trying to farm up that Scorpion camp was just really well timed. And, you know, obviously it's bronze. Can't assume that everyone's in comms, but nonetheless, it seemed like they had at least some thing on the up and up right now. Bastet underneath some pressure. Hades too. They stuck around a bit too long perchance. Cthulhu now on the offensive.
What are y'all still doing there? Come on, guys. All right, look. Hades is sitting on about 70 health right now. Get out of there. What you doing?
To be fair, has a sustain, so like maybe just thinking, you know, I got one soul explosion, I'm back up to full, but Hades needs to put a few levels into that ability before it really does get that full heal in deck. He's still sticking around, though. To his credit, the Mire's going to keep him out for a bit longer. And the longer he stays in here, the longer that the more chances that Cthulhu has to kind of just bridge that gap that was had by that first blood. Now walking over to that mana buff. It has just cropped up, but potentially a bit too scared, recognizing the kitty cat might be playing in the woods once again. But look at that. Happily strolls his way through the jungle like he's in an 80s sitcom. Oh, honey, I'm home. And now Hades could be in trouble.
Yeah, he's going on the Hades. I think the only thing that saves Hades here is the fact that Cthulhu doesn't have ult. But if you stick around and try and get that buff, you're gonna eat it here. Give it up, man. It's just a blue buff.
It is just a blue buff, but it wasn't one that needed to be lost. Like you said, why are you still there? If Hades had backed, gotten items, gotten full health, retreated, and it just came back for the next wave, would have been able to contest that far better. Probably wouldn't have even been an object of contestation in the first place. Unfortunately, not going to be the case now. Yorm sticking around a bit too long past their welcome as well. It seems the members in blue here, the Tin Boys, just don't quite know when to retreat, and that's going to be something that's a bit rough when you have a no escape as well facing you down. So hopefully going to see them kind of quell that over-aggression come these later team fights. Might be seeing one right now here in the solo lane. Here come both the junglers.
Yeah, jungles are in. Cthulhu is the target here. He's still got ult and he's holding it for some reason. Cthulhu's down. Hades is down right behind him, and that's gonna be a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, Ao Kwang decided not to path aggressively despite the level lead. Here's no escape though. Could be big damage dropped in. Artemis decides that's where I want to be. Caledonian Borg gonna grab out. Here comes the rain of arrows. Here comes one kill. The hot dog's gonna get gobbled up. A few more arrows there, and the World Serpent maybe to finish the job. Decides from safe pathing instead. A nice attempt there by the Copper Choppers gets turned on its head.
Scotty's gonna go down. Big kill. Big kill for the 10 boys here. Not a god you want getting ahead and having a good time at all. Game looks pretty even so far for this being a bronze lobby. Like this is nothing like what we saw in that first one.
Definitely not. Hopefully not going to see the same thing in the timers as well. But finally, Cthulhu going to activate that ultimate that you were so begging for. Hades could be in a bit of trouble, but already back under tower, just going to throw some basics out. Unless he just stays his welcome a bit too much once again. Level 5, the mire dropped on top of his head. This Hades just does not know when to quit.
I'm not sure what my man's doing here, which, I mean, the good news is if you're not throwing your damn abilities, you don't really need the blue buff all that badly. He's got plenty of mana. Soul's getting aggressed on here, though. MLF might have it. Oh, there's the supernova out. Soul's not running to her tower.
She's instead running to get a bit of sustain, I guess, but now the pincer movement could be a bit of trouble here. Comes the re-engage from the Morgan Le Fay, and the dragon sweeps her up. That's just going to be another issue here. As to the stack of Dorm, we were doubting it, Ztan, and kind of showing why we had it. Maybe he's telling us to shut our mouths. We don't know anything about bronze here. This is our world. This is our turf. You guys are only tourists here. And right now, looking like a tourist in their own lane, Hot Dogs gets taken down again.
Yikes. This Artemis so far is going kind of ham here. And she's going this Soul Eater start, which personally I'm a big fan of. But, what do you think about it?
I mean, Artemis doesn't have too much trouble, at least in this stage of the game right now. She's doing a pretty good job being the aggressor, despite the buffs that Scotty's received, not really seeming too strong for it. If you can just maintain that lead, already stacked up to 35, and really has had no trouble pushing up, even when the Copper Choppers have tried to aggress. We've seen that No Escape come out twice. Seems like even when you pull them in, it's only helping them more. Close that gap, close that distance, so definitely don't mind it. Gives you that stacking power. Just gives you a bit more survivability in pocket. Both of these carries can be really frustrating when it comes to the Soul and the Artemis when they're fully stacked up, especially with just the natural sustain built up in Soul's kit. You saw that she did get taken down, but not before healing up a decent amount there. That Radiance, of course, going to make sure that she can heal herself up a little bit. It's not the most potent heal, like a Raw, but nonetheless is going to be potent in those spare moments. Not potent enough, though. 2 levels down. Not the best. She's going aggressive still, not quite acting like it. And with 2 jungles looming, could be rough stuff here. Water Illusion already expended, but here comes the Ao Kwang.
Kwang's in, he's on the Soul. The Supernova's out. I don't think she gets it there. But Bastet, Soul's back in! You're standing in front of an Ao Kwang. Get out of there! That's going to be the Bastet ult. Finds Ao Kwang, gets the beads, doesn't get the kill. Bastet's out low. And maybe we just let it go at that?
I respect that. I respect some nicely timed retreats here, but no retreat here from the Ares. In fact, this is the ability name after all. Calder is on the offensive. Both members of the Tin Boys looking low. Both, though, going to be able to retreat. Ares, not happy about that. Jormungandr maybe not happy either. Maybe wanted to fall to the grayscale. Might be obliging. Ares looking to step in potentially. Stays alive for now. This could be rough, though. Here comes Calder.
This Yorm is playing fast and loose with his own life. I mean, Ares walks in there, oh, Bastet's here. Okay. Scotty's on the run. Bastet is engaging completely. Ares kills the Jormungandr. Bastet is... Alright, Artemis confirms the kill.
Here comes Ao Kwang.
Ao Kwang is now on the scene. I don't think... Nope, the ult's up. He's got it. question is, does he get it? No, but he gets
Here
the
comes
Artemis
Cthulhu.
Beast. Here comes Cthulhu. The solo laner Zen confirms the kill onto Artemis. Descent into madness. Bastet is running for her life. Or Cthulhu's losing his to the tower. There's the no escape. Ares is dead to the tower. The fucking MVP of this match is apparently the T1 tower and left.
That's rough. That's rough. Always rough when you can't get that one ilking of damage just to make it your own. Tier 1 tower on the left side here, going to be the main player. Anthony, can we focus on that Tier 1 tower just to see how it's feeling after just taking 2 lives like that? Wrong Tier 1 tower, buddy. There we go. Look at that bloodthirsty tower.
Let me tell you how he's feeling. That tower is feeling like him right about now.
Tier 2 tower just watching in awe like, oh my god, you did it, buddy. That's the dream right there for any tower's performance. Fantastic work to these NPCs. Because right now, some of these members on the bronze side playing like NPCs. No, not actually. They're actually playing quite even keel here. 10 minutes, 5-5. Gold leads even. No objectives been touched. Despite that composition being kind of made for it. So, might be a mistake here by the Tin Boys to kind of let it all be for aggression's sake without actually looking for the bigger picture, the whole enchilada. So far, Soul Lane has seen rotations. Hades, kind of been a forgotten player in this game. Still down 1 level despite that big rotation from Cthulhu, despite it not bearing too much fruit for them. Hades, of course, going to be useful in these rotations across the team, but the question is, who is going to have that lead foot in that engagement? Hades having to decide whether or not they want to get that blink on in once that shard is going to be eliminated from the game. Personally, would love to see it. You need to have a good initiator into your fights, and Jormungandr's approach is a bit too obvious if you're really trying to go with that World Serpent. So hopefully you're going to see a blink there from the Hades to ensure that they have an easy flowchart to start off their team fights.
All right, so like we've seen a lot of different players now in some of these lobbies. Some of them that you watch and you're like, what are you doing in this elo? You don't belong here. Hades is answering my question, and Scotty is gone in an instant. Ooh.
Battle of cats and dogs. And pigs, if you count the boar. So, that now, if we're looking at the life of pets, this is the death of pets. And so far we're seeing potentially the death of Jormungandr as well. Snakes are also on the menu. Ao Kuang going in.
Not doing any real damage to the Yorm, though. Soul's here now. Ao Kuang's just getting out of there. I think the minions did more damage to Yorm than the Ao Kuang did.
You know what? Sometimes the NPCs really just do be king in all respects, but now deciding to re-engage could be where they fall this time. Enters the World Serpent for safety. Gets knocked up and around just a little bit. Now the beacon being engaged on. Here comes the 3v3.
They're back in. No escapes out. Does it pull any? It pulls both. That's going to be the disapparate down on the Soul. I think she dies here. There's the Supernova. There's the Bastet ult, and Ares is gone.
Playing fetch with them. And they're not even the dog.
Yikes. Okay. Solid play, but Yorn needs to get the hell out of there.
That's again where they just have not been really following through. It's like, dude, your health is low. Just freaking back. You got something out of it. Good for you, but that's not going to work every single time. Tin Boys are at some point going to come to a boiling point where they think they can do that same thing again, and it's going to be late game where Scotty can just burn through you, Ao Kuang can just burn through you, and you're going to end up with multiple players hitting the grayscale because they don't recognize or respect maybe the damage their opponents can do late. So hopefully going to be seeing a bit more caution, a bit more respect being put on the Tin Boys, or from the Tin Boys onto the Copper Choppers as this game continues. Because 2-0 Ao Kuang, still behind the Bastet because she's just been making more happen across the map, but nonetheless is nothing to slouch at. Jormungandr's still doing the same things though. Getting up to the same hijinks, now being chased by 2. You predicted, Z10, the fact that chains is going to be what's so important here. I don't have to see it right now as Jormungandr dodges the chain, and that means the fight might just be lost.
It may be. Morgan is in serious trouble here. She's using the ult to get out. I don't know that Soul has... I don't think she has the mana to cast here. Morgan's going to get out for free. The World Serpent's going on here.
She's going around the back.
And they're out for free. There's the Scotty ult, returned with the pig. There's the Bastet ult, and Artemis is going to get the kill onto Scotty. Ao Kuang has decided he wants no further part of their bullshit and is headed to the backs.
This is rough looks for the Scotty. 0-5 here, 14 minutes in. That's unfortunate, especially with the god so potent. And now Cthulhu could be the exact same fate. Here comes a 3-man rotation. Jormungandr takes the lead.
Cthulhu is in serious trouble right now. They're full engaging. Soul's going to end up getting the kill. T1 Tower, split push champion of the year, Ares here.
You know what? He saw the power of tier 1 towers before. Says, I don't want any of that nonsense here in the mid lane. Running an absolute campaign to destroy them. So are the Tin Boys, to be fair. 4-man rotation with the Bastet teleport. Now Artemis could be meeting the exact same fate as her opposition. Might be the Gold Fury instead. That's going to be the pickup here, looking for the Copper Choppers. Only one around is Artemis. She doesn't quite seem, though, aware or privy of the play.
No, that's going to go down completely for free. They just kind of get it, but the Tin Boys are over here pushing down a T2 tower, which, I mean, honestly, 15 minutes into the game, that's a pretty significant amount of gold you just pulled from the right lane. Honestly, might even venture into the realm of worth it.
I would argue yes, especially if they can get this Pyromancer too, but it just throws the map state into such a great favor for them. And they're going to be able to grab that one as well, so the Tin Boys certainly making away like bandits in that trade. Copper Choppers probably felt really satisfied with that Gold Fury. No one's around here, easy peasy, but they really lose out quite a bit more in the end. Cthulhu was one of their main players, and not having that safety, the liability to just be ganked at any moment now, it's a dangerous thing. So is confronting an Ao Kuang like that. Jormungandr might find out in just a moment, but they decide this fight's not going to go anywhere, so they decide to just back off instead. We'll say, it is unfortunate the first objective is pulled by the team that doesn't have 2 ADCs. Nonetheless, Tin Boys answered back quite well for themselves, and now might be answering back to try to look for a pick on this blue buff, around this blue buff at the very least. Ares tries to go for the invade. Here comes Ao Kuang as well.
Yeah, Hades is there. He's got the ult. Now let's see if there's any follow-up to it. Bastet's there. Ao Kuang's low, but so is Bastet. Bastet confirms the kill onto the Ao Kuang. Ares and Bastet dueling now. Chains are good, and I think Ares is going to kill her. Yep, he's got it. Now we're back in. Morgan Le Fay confirms the kill. Descent into Madness is up. Jormungandr seems to be the target, but I don't know if you kill him here. Scotty's making the rotation. Now Soul's here. The whole damn team is here. Yorm's in ult.
Scotty.
We're all over the place here. Scotty's now taking some pretty decent shots on Soul. The disapparate's out. Do you get it? There's the MLF ult.
It's the one of the carries.
Another player has entered the fray. Jormungandr's back now. Ult's out. Cthulhu's chasing him. He might have the damage to confirm it. He does, but now Cthulhu's staring at Artemis. Artemis wants no part of it. And this fight went on long enough that pretty much everybody's back up.
Indeed, they are. That was actually quite successful there for the Copper Choppers. All started off with what seemed at first to be a good play from the Copper Choppers, then seemed to be a good counter response from the Tin Boys, and then it just all kind of flew out of whack. The rotation from the Copper Choppers came too quick. Might be seeing one here from the Artemis once again, the hope of the Tin Boys, rocking level 17, but might be rocking the death soon.
Oh no, that's gonna be the Artemis beads for the no escape. Morgan Le Fay's looking low. Bastet is jumping right in on her. Hades may go down to the Ares, but they do get the kill onto the Morgan Le Fay. Ares just kind of gonna have to back off there. Those cats are doing a lot of damage.
Ooh, chains might be as well, though. Those cats indeed hitting pretty hard. Another tier 1 tower goes down, thanks to the Ao Kuang split push, and now the Beacon's next target of our aggressions here. 2v3 to start. 2v4 if you count the cat. Jormungandr having some good aggression there. Calder's on the offensive to try to chase down their mortal enemy in the Bastet. But that breath can be very efficient in knocking down those ticks. Not efficient enough if Calder is invulnerable, but now going in with the World Serpent, Scotty could be in trouble.
That's gonna be the Tusky, and it's gonna be the kill. Scotty's gonna go down. Cthulhu's into the descent into madness again. Looks like he's running directly after Artemis, but I don't think you're gonna catch it. Al Kwong is coming into the back on this soul, whose disapparate is down now. If they can get the damage on her, they're gonna get that execute off. He's looking for it. Not good. Al Kwong gonna go down instead to the Bastet. Cthulhu gonna follow shortly behind. And now it's just Ares fighting into a soul. Bastet and Hades has joined the party.
So much damage from this team. Now it's going to be able to clean this one up potentially, but a big four-man no escape. You have Morgan Le Fay to follow it up. Going to be taking down one pair of dice, maybe looking for a pair of kills. King River's not going to grant you that. There's the double from the Morgan Le Fay as well. Now Hades, so quickly. I thought I had 4 friends. What happened to me? Artemis is on the way at the very least. Morgan Le Fay might not be around for much longer. Pair of dice gets sent to Paradise, and Artemis going to finish off King River. Send him up the river. Beautiful response there from the Tin Boys. Overall leads to a 3v4 in their favor.
It was a good response, but this is reminding me of our first Castin bronze, Deelo.
Don't say that.
Look, I'm just saying the writing's on the wall, buddy. They're killing like 3 and 4 of each other at a time and just running in and dying sequentially. Like someone is going to have to actually win a fight. Because, I mean, when you're trading 3 lives for 4, you're not winning that fight. You stalled the fight.
Not only are you not winning that fight, but you're not winning anything afterwards. You know, Smite's a game about taking leads or taking fights and then making something of it. But what can you make of it when the only 2 people up are your Hades and your Yorm? In this case, it was the Hades and the Artemis, but nonetheless, the point is there in the pudding that you can't do too much afterwards if all of your team is dead. We need to push deep for these objectives. Tier 2 towers. And now Hades going in with the Pillar of Agony. Could be big damage.
He's in. There are a lot of bolts out. I'm not even going to bother. That's at least 5. Hades looks to be the target. He's going to go down. Ares going to follow behind immediately. Cthulhu's down. That's all of the front line down for the Copper Choppers. Tin Boys look like they're pushing in. Jormungandr's going into the World Serpent, looking for Morgan in the back. Bastet looking.
Oh no, the tower.
Oh, are we about to have another tower MVP moment here, or is somebody going to kill the damn thing? Nope. Yo.
Tier 2 tower
Come
OP,
on.
bro. No! Okay.
There we go. Yep, a stiff fart could blow down that tower, and Artemis does, in fact, do so. No mana, no health, no bitches, back to base.
Dude, all the bitches got chased off by the fucking tower, bro. That's crazy. You said that the writing's on the wall, man. My brains are about to be splattered on the wall if we cannot get some actual pushes from this team. The Tin Boys are doing a good job with their fights, but again, just can't capitalize. The Tier 2 tower is nice, but they need to win more decisively. They need to play more as a team. Hades with that lead foot, I like it, but not having that blink, I think, is hurting them. It's a far more obvious approach that doesn't allow you to use your escape properly. You have to really dedicate everything to approach. And now, approaching is the Ares. There's no escape onto the Hades.
Copper Choppers are here. Jormungandr looks to be the target. We're back into the descent into madness. Tusky hasn't gone out yet, but it could. Morgan gonna pick up the Jormungandr. Hades is getting run down by the Ares. Scotty gets killed by the Artemis. And we're at a 2-for-1 now. Artemis has no real mana here. Soul gonna confirm the kill, but we've got an execute now. There goes the Artemis, and we're just trading it back and forth.
More damage to be had here as Cthulhu tries to rejoin the fight, but unfortunately that's not a sitcom with a happy ending. Ghost Rider gonna indeed make a ghost of that solo laner. It's a 4-for-3 here once again. The Tin Boys, they can get a beacon off it, but they just can't get much more else when there's so many corpses littering the battlefield.
I feel like you could definitely go and pull Pyro here. Like, you're sitting on top of a Mannequin Soul and a Bastet. Like, surely to God, you can throw a cat into the Pyromancer and, you know, get in there.
That's far too ambitious.
I feel like it was definitely an option. You know, now we've got Jormungandr back up. both of the teams fully healthy. Everybody's back. I in a normal game, I'd say I assume the next scrap's over fire, but what do you think they're doing?
Looks like they're going for Pyro. This time, Copper Chopper's going to pick up the slack where the Tin Boys left it on the basement floor. Cthulhu moving in first. Here comes the Yorm. Could be for the contest.
Well, the Tusky's already out. Cthulhu is getting shredded by this Artemis. Tin Boys
get it.
The Pyromancer. Bastet kills the Scotty. Yorm's in the World Servant. Copper Choppers are on the run. I don't know if MLF gets away from Hades here. She's trying.
Got a turn.
Oh my, Yorm's in the back line. Hades has got Al Kwong in the Pillars of Agony. Beads are out. There's the blink too. Al Kwong's gone. Hades is in the damn Phoenix.
Phoenix MVP.
It will be shortly. That's going to be the execute good onto the Bastet. And once again, we've traded back and forth. The 1 point here, though, Tin Boys did get the middle bird.
You know what? I'm pleased with that. And now they're going to get a tier 2 tower for their troubles as well, knowing just how big these pesky structures have been, a big of a thorn in their side. So they're going to take those all out. Mid Phoenix down. Opens up this Fire Giant for a real good potential engage. Tin Boys, though, need to not overstay their welcome. Jormungandr is trying to pay rent on their side of the jungle, and he's going to get evicted back to the fountain shortly by King River. You said before, it's a game of chains, and right now they're winning. Every single time Ares lands these things, it usually means that there's a death. That's rough, Morgan. That's rough. It happens to the best of us.
That was deliberate. That was clearly deliberate. She did that on purpose. Nobody panic. She's fine. Now, what are we doing here? Okay, we're grouping up. We're grouping up for the Gold Fury. That's an objective. I friggin' love it.
Gotta respect it. Scotty here. Going to be moving for that, but at the very least, it opens up the Tin Boys' opportunity if they can recognize it to get something more than a red buff and a yellow buff. Maybe not. Maybe orange is just a bit too daring. Don't want to combine the colors quite yet. So instead, Gold Fury goes down the way of the Copper Choppers. Bastet moves to the left, but at this point, you have to imagine that everything that's there to grab is more or less down. Cthulhu sticks around, the rest go back to spend their golden. What a gold lead it is. But not for their side. The Tin Boys instead have it, 4,000 at 28 minutes. XP, not quite mattering as much. You only hit 20 once, as Z10 always says. But nonetheless, do you only die to minions and Artemis once? This is looking rough for the Cthulhu.
Oh, Cthulhu, surely. My God, somebody get this man a spectral. Holy shit. You know, like, I appreciate the breastplates and the prophetics that have 16 stacks 28 minutes in, but you got to get a spectral. Tin Boys are on this Fire Giant now. Copper Choppers are looking to contest, but they're going to have to get in there friggin' quick because it's getting burned. Bastet, Al Kwong's in. Does he get it?
Nope.
The Tin Boys secure it, and now Bastet's low. Morgan going to confirm the kill onto the Bastet.
Oh no! Was that on purpose?
Okay, that one might not have been on purpose, Deelo.
I don't think so either. And now, Soul might not want to be any more part of this fight. Scotty going to be trying to retreat back so they can throw some more spears from a distance. Might not be giving them too much distance if your Ares falls down. There goes the front line. Artemis not able to get off the final basic to finish the job before Akimbo Hot Dog sends 2 right for your skull. Ghost Rider avenges their carry in arms. And Hades is on the prowl as well, trying to chase out the Morgan Le Fay. Beads literally trying to move through the mire as well as the Sigil, but maybe decides better of it now that the Zulu has ultimate in pocket. Good evasion. Will get rid of them to safety. They're going in for the kill.
They're on Titan. They're on Titan right now. They're going for it. They are fucking going for it, and they don't even know. They're getting pinged. This game's over. This is done. This is fucking out.
Oh no. Okay. It's totally done. It's totally out. Tin Boys make some initiative happen, but not without leaving 4 corpses on the ground, of course. Look at those pings. You know there's some heat behind that one, but the heat's all in the Soul's pockets. Excellent job there, the Tin Boys.
Look, we saw the pings going out, and you know, I saw them moving up towards the Titan, and I was like, they're gonna do it. They're gonna move on this. And I mean, you could say Hades distracted them, but they didn't even start backing. Like, even after they killed Hades, they're literally getting notifications on their screen. Your Titan is under attack. And my dude was like, "Yeah, that shield buff looking fire."
Buff, yeah.
Yeah, so that shield buff looking fire for the fucking game I'm about to not be in.
Sometimes you just want to pad your stats a bit more on them jungles, but you know what? Fair play to them. I respect the moxie it took there from the Tim boys to finally make some progressive movements to be proactive a bit more, and that's where they started to win. Where we saw their weaknesses was when they were sticking around for a bit too long in a fight, and that was just decisive movement to just say, let's just put a pin in this right now. Hades has them on the run after him, and Hades not having the best performance did do their job, I would argue. A lot of multi-man Pillar of Agonies that forced out ultimates and beads in response, and also distracted everything. When there was like a whole hullabaloo going on because of a no escape, Hades was almost always responding with a no escape that would not only get them out of the stun, but would also cause a bit of chaos afterwards and now force the other team, the Copper Choppers, to respond instead. So good job to the Hades there for kind of contributing a bit inadvertently to that play. Also, shout out to that Artemis trap for fucking with that Morgan Le Fay. Good job.
Yeah, no, that Artemis actually had some pretty nasty plays.
Yeah, for sure.
Throughout the game, which, I mean, as a consummate carry main myself, it always helps your play when the enemy team clearly has no idea how to build into you building crit. It works out.
Certainly does, man. I mean, grab yourself a Spectral next time. Hell, grab yourself it off Temu for deep discount. Like, just get something in there to try to counter that. Do more, though. On the Morgan Le Fay, I gotta say, the Morgan Le Fay was actually playing quite well, if we're looking at the reverse side to give our laurels to. But another thing I want to shout out was the Tin Boys recognizing that the Scotty was a threat. Bastet making some really good rotations to shut her down early. And Dao Kwong, to his credit, tried to enable her. We saw that first rotation that was a bit unsuccessful. Just didn't quite work out. The rotations of the Bastet were far more successful just because of the inherent mobility of that god, and Scotty getting a bit too big for her britches. A dog does not make you invincible, my friend. Otherwise, we would all live forever.
You know what? That was deep. That was deeper than you had any right.
What can I say? Cats have 9 lives. Sadly, wolves don't.
Well, you know what? On that mildly depressing and philosophical note, I've been Ztantalus, joined here by Deelo, and we had the AnthonyMalum running the camera for us, and that is going to be it for us.